Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib, right on the eve of Conqueror's Wrath, which is going to be, as everybody probably knows at this point, is a extension of this raid cycle, and it doesn't have any new PvE content, but it still has plenty of PvE content. It just the most interesting thing I found about it is the turrets, which are sort of close to the end. But that's the only place I could really see putting them. But the turrets I find are quite interesting with the corrosive turrets being introduced at this point. And let's go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Father George.
You sure?
Yep. And Senior Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
And we should expect Padre at some point soon. He's returning from some appointment. And let's go ahead and get started with the slides. I'm going to put Daniel on present. And bug fixes. Time to retrofit is now additive when there are more than the same hulls in the dock inventory. When you retrofit on a hull, it would appear to be about 45 minutes per hull that you owned. I don't know because I haven't tried to upgrade it in a while. I'm not sure how big of a difference this makes. It was like 45 minutes to an hour. I guess it's one of those bugs we didn't know about. So I don't know if anybody on chat knows if it changed anything significantly. Titanium Expedition can now be completed. I'm assuming this deals with the non-generalist one. It appeared that there was like a unkillable turret. Is that the situation as far as anybody knows?
Yeah, that happened to me once.
Okay. So that's been fixed. Memory leak improvement involving battle replays. At least they're being specific there.
I mean, it's battle replays. I'd like to have a lot less memory leak, scrolling across the damn map.
Yeah.
But, maybe I'm asking too much.
And this is the second week in a row. I don't know if I haven't noticed any change from last week, but adjusted Greta's Inferno Dragon appearing too large on the world map. So this is the second week in a row. I didn't notice that Greta's gotten any smaller. She just got back into shape a little bit, doing some hot yoga or whatever else she was up to. But yeah, it appears to be the same as last week in my mind. Then a good thing is they've reduced the base repair time from the Warden down to 30 minutes to bring it in line with the person that works at a museum. What's the other
Curator?
Curator, yeah. To bring it in line with the curator.
I didn't know what the hell you were saying until you said that. I was like, I got it.
Yeah. I forgot. I didn't claim the curator, so hence I didn't remember the name. But I think that's a positive move. Brings it in line with the curator and also the Conqueror halls.
It heartily amuses me that you actually kind of connect words with like the way that you just did, because that's how I do it too. A lot of times I'll just be sitting there going, what the hell is that word? And I'm like, it means like this, but it's really this. And it's like, eventually I'll get to it.
Yeah. I mean, because the Warden is the same way, because I think a week or so ago, or when that bounty was introduced, I was like, the Warden, the curator, the next offender call is going to be the librarian. They're all like sitting there taking care, protecting, whatever. So the Warden is over the prisoners, the curator is over the, you all get it. I don't need to go on with that. But update to the Android app to support blitzing. That's all good. And who thinks she's photoshopped? I think she might be photoshopped, because even with those platform heels on, I've looked at pictures of, after I saw this, I looked at pictures of guys standing next to an old Volkswagen Bug, and I think she stands up. The top is about at her belly button, and you see these guys standing in front of their Volkswagen Bug they just redid or whatnot, all proud of it. and the top of it comes up to their shoulders. So I don't know.
Where do you think her belly button is, man? I think you're thinking.
No, she's sort of bent over at this point, as you might have noticed. I mean, it's not her shoulders. Her shoulders would be a couple feet above. I mean, she's like 2 feet taller than the guys.
Yeah, but those got to be like 9-inch freaking platform things plus another. I don't even know how big those damn shoes are.
Yeah, I'm like 7'2" when I wear those shoes. I'm actually wearing them now, but
I might have to say
I'm sitting down though.
Yeah, I think I might have to say that might be Photoshop because there's my neighbor actually has one that looks well, except for the fast stickers, but looks almost exactly like that, and that thing's up to like the top is at my chin, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'd have to go. I'll go down there and check.
Either that or she's really tall. Yeah, well, we may have
she could be really tall.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. So, okay. Let's. I guess is anybody else in the bug fixes? Oh, since I started talking about low hanging fruit, I didn't realize Pixeye had the same verbiage when they were describing things that they could do while they're trying to figure out what to do with PvP and PvE and bigger things to fix the game. Smaller things, like I mentioned, things associated with sorting your specials when you're trying to build a ship, or changing the turret displays. Those appear to be too complicated for them. So every week I'm going to do a new low-hanging fruit for them. And currently, with the raid cycle that we're in, if you try to bring something in that into a VXP target that doesn't do penetrative or corrosive damage, you can spend minutes and not even scratch the paint on these targets. And the reason for that is the resistances on those ships is 99%. And so what I thought a lot of players may like is bring those resistances in line across the board to be 50% or whatever they are for missile and corrosive, so people can rank up their proto centurions, proto tides, their ifrits, whatever else that they want to rank up that's not part of this raid cycle.
Or maybe have a cryo battery on one of your hulls. I'm just saying.
That's if you have a cryo battery. They haven't offered that
This
in
is
years.
true. Yeah, there's other options for that too, though. I think I'd have to check.
So, I mean, what? Well, and you also run a Phoenix on yours, so it's a whole different. But not a Phoenix, a Katie's.
Phoenix.
So it's Katie's. You run a Katie's with yours, so yes, it doesn't. You don't have the same quite the same appreciation of this that I think other players do, as far as like you're not doing crap to those things, and it's really a pain in the ass.
Well, I mean,
to just basically suicide your ships. It's just not enjoyable.
But look, even without the Katie's, you can always use the a Conqueror hull, man. I mean, that's not the first time.
No, I've used a Conqueror hull, but if you like run your prototypes behind it, they're not gaining any VXP because they're not doing any damage.
The prototypes were a pain in the ass. I still have, I think, 3 of them that aren't.
And your proto-centurions are in the same neighborhood. I mean, it's all your ifrits, because of the really high resistances. Even if you tank with something else, you're not getting your offensive allotment of VXP points. And so I'm just saying it's an easy thing for them to do, is to just straight line the resistances across all the damage types to make it somewhat enjoyable for the player base to do VXP weekend, because they're able to do something besides suiciding their fleets. I mean, I don't know. You got something better? As far as something that's really, really easy for them to do that the player base would like?
I still remember salves. And hello, everybody.
How is everything going with you, Padre?
Good. Just got in.
Okay.
You guys are talking about the VXP, huh?
Well, because I'm just doing it because the first week after Wrong Thinker put things out, and he's like, we want to, do things to change things, and it's going to take us months to do everything. I brought up, like these are ideas for low hanging fruit, and basically easy things they could do that the player base would like. And this is something I'm bringing up. I'm going to do it every week. I got tons of ideas of just easy things they can do. Just change a little bit of code, shouldn't impact the game that much, and really up what players want to do. So, and but I guess we can move on.
Yeah, I mean it's better than it was. There used to be salves, so I'm complaining less.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of players enjoy just suiciding.
No, nobody does.
Yeah.
That's strictly there for them to make a little money and for you to get your stuff ranked faster. So I guess the trade-off was, spend coin and it's done in a week or a few days, or don't spend coin and it's done in, I don't even remember how long it took.
Yeah, I mean, but the expectation is that they're trying to look at things that are in the game that are broken based on the fact that it's been working this way so far. Why haven't we changed it?
Yeah.
And they put that in there 6 years ago or 5, So that's something I'm just sort of throwing out there because they're basing it on targets, and this is really isn't a raid target. There's no reason to change it. I thought it would be much more difficult to create multiple targets that were specified for each type of haul and whatnot. Because they don't seem huge on creating new targets at this point.
No, they just throw something out there. I think it's really more of a okay, and then there's this.
Mm-hmm.
They can put that one on autopilot.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a raid coming up or something?
Yeah, I think tomorrow is the rumor. What's the space game that they play? They have, I forget.
Invader Sim?
Vega?
What? Vega. Doesn't this look a
yeah.
little more Vega-like than Battle Pirates? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it does kind of look like a spacesuit.
Yeah, and it does like
For-
whatever's going on in the background does look more space-like than it does Battle Pirates. But
What, you've
whatever.
never seen the Aurora Borealis in the bottom of the ocean?
Yes, and also, yes, that's always and it's also always has a the horizon involved. It doesn't appear to be round unless yeah, I'm not sure where you can see it where it's going to be round either. So
I don't know. Underwater, that has a fisheye effect. So
mhm.
apparently, you need some physics.
Yeah, I mean, or this could be underwater nuclear testing. I'm not sure what's going on
Yeah, I
there.
think that could be what they're going for. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what they're going for. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next one, Daniel.
Mhm.
The targets. We have two new tier 8 targets, the 110 and the 108. They provide the ability to get a set bonus of 5 million points. So it's very similar to last go round, last raid.
yeah.
The older ones, the ones we hit before, do not provide the 5 million. The older ones do provide the same shards, the requirement of 5 of each that we saw before. But now we're getting a loot box, which I think is one of Daniel's favorite words, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
And you have a chance of receiving one of these 4 shards, which is going to make it a lot less efficient if you're trying to complete a blueprint.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty random. I liked it the other way. It was pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now this is, I'm not sure I like this. At least like split them up so you're like, okay, well, I could get 2 of these, or I could have a 50% chance of getting one of these 2 shards here or one of these 2 shards in this other location. The rest of it
Little
appears.
generic shards that you could redeem for what you want, and then you don't even have to worry about this roulette crap that they like to throw out.
Yeah, yeah. The rest of it doesn't appear to have changed yet. So I didn't put the blitzes on. They did something like even if you screw up real bad on a blitz target, my understanding, there was a maximum price for the blitz target. Was that my understanding, or is anybody? Padre, you're more familiar with blitz targets than I am.
I don't know. I always go for the minimum damage, and then if I'm gonna blitz, I blitz. Not that
Okay.
I didn't know there was a maximum. I didn't know you could. I suck this bad.
Yeah. I died. I mean, I'm just wondering if it's also exploitable. You send in a gunboat, it dies. I mean, I guess you assume you have to kill it, so I don't know what's going on there. But okay. Trying to think if there's anything else interesting here. Have you put has anybody decided what they're going to put their hyper or have already put their hyper 30s on?
I put it on a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, I put
I'm
it on
being
me
intentionally vague.
Okay.
I put it on my dragons. And that's it.
Okay. Alrighty. I guess we can move on since there's not a lot of changes here, and we don't know what the 110 and the 108 look like at this point.
They're shaped like a. It's like a S with like two lines through it of turrets.
The dollar sign turrets.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I could see multiple places you could put them. It's just a matter of because I think I only got six or seven of them, so I haven't put them on anything yet because of the combat speed boost. You need to sort of refit a whole fleet with them, and I haven't decided which direction to go. But we have our new prizes. The number one is the Witch Doctor.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean it's 15 grand, especially once you see it next to the Efrit, which is more expensive. And yeah, I mean it's 5 million. Well, the other thing we need to explain at this point is there's no lock store anymore, at least for this raid. So there's no lock store, so you can buy whatever you want at any point in time. So and you have a maximum claims of 3, so that's 15 million. So the Witch Doctor is cheap, and then you're going to see some of these things. I think a couple slides down are outrageously expensive and not needed. I mean, but yeah, I don't even know. We can get into that later. But we have 3 new corrosive turrets that are 15 million each and are also limited. You can claim 4 of each. You only need to claim 8 in order to achieve the maximum tier bonus. Plus, once you have them all, plus 200 damage, which, whatever about that. And then also the Hex Scattergun, which is we'll get into more, which is 12 million. And
The hell is
corrosion.
that?
What?
The picture. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Witch Doctor?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
There we go. So, alrighty. Let's move on then. This is just the new prizes. We're just going to go through the prizes. PvE prizes. Why the hell is the Greta's Inferno Dragon still 40 million? And why is the Makara's Manicore still 30 million?
Because we're trying to catch up, right? Yeah. That's why. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And why is the Chameleon Com Prime 20 million? That's like
Why would anyone want that is the question.
The top 5, yeah, actually the top 6 things I think are just, I don't know.
Where's the hole for the next raid cycle?
Next raid. They've extended it all a month. This is not a tech raid. This is just a normal raid.
Oh,
So,
Well, the next month will be new targets, and then you'll have to get the hull somehow. in the raid to do the targets, and then you'll build it during the raid. That's how you'll do well.
Oh, we're gonna have
It
to
used
use
to be
our-
like that.
Yeah, they tried. They were pushing towards that for sure. Hopefully this new guy has a decent head on his shoulders. I've seen him speak a few times, but
Mhm.
hopefully he's intelligent enough to not go down some of the same roads we've already been down.
Yeah, he's been with the company a long time, so there's a chance that he's listening to. But been with other games. He's been with them.
Yeah, that kind of worries me though, because the other game is exactly the one that we wanted to not have influence our game. I mean, for years now.
Yeah. Well,
We
I
shall
think it's
see.
been happening before. So then, I mean, as far as PvE prizes, there's not much
A lot of
missing. There's another page of them.
There's a
So
lot of them.
yeah, there's also another page of them. So this is just page one of PvE prizes. They're all older. They're all allowing you to catch up. I mean, any thoughts on it? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you want to click one more time, Daniel?
Yeah.
So, is there anything that's jumping out at everybody?
Yeah, the Hornet UAV. Why would you even want that?
Well, that's only 200K. So
Yeah.
we could move on because this wasn't, this raid was not about the PvE prizes. This was about the PvP stuff. So,
I wish those Katie shots would level for people. I mean, we're in the second to last month now. Although, did you notice in the release notes they had said he had a flat begin and end time? I think the new guy didn't know that we just do staggered starts.
well, he also did. He also had the raid ending once the redemption period was over.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
I thought we were getting an extra day, and we're really not.
No. So yeah.
Yep.
Well, those kinds of things I can let slide. I don't, some people say the devil's in the details, but
Well, except for he's not this is the CM Chris. This isn't the really the decision maker. This is the communicator.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, that he may want to communicate properly, but
Yeah. So, all right, let's move over to the PvP prizes, Daniel. All right.
Oh my!
I've sorted them by value or cost. Draconian Scattergun 2, Death Sight Turret, Cryo Adapter. Those are the three new ones. They're all corrosive. Catastrophic Mortar. Oh, the previous three all had a limit of 4. So the tier limit as far as the damage bonus is 8. So you can easily reach that because you have the capacity for 12. We'll talk about each individual one more. Catastrophic Mortar, which is explosive, has a limit of 4.
The top 3 is 100. Is the top 3 180 million? Am I doing that right in my head?
Well, it depends how many do you want to get?
4. I'm not friggin'
No. Why would you get 12?
Why not?
Okay, because the cap is 8.
You got 4 scatterguns, 4 death sides, and 4 cryos.
No, but the tier cap for corrosive is 8.
But we have no idea what how the hell did they phrase that? Whatever the hell we're doing.
The refactor.
We have no idea how all this shit's gonna work. So yeah, hell yes, I want to get all of them because I don't know what I'm going to be using in a couple of, I guess, 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. Well, we could talk a little bit about that more, and I think we're going to know more on Friday once people have a chance to take a look at all this stuff. And of course, the refactor it's sort of weird. Like we know we need to change things, but we're not changing things for a couple of months. We're just going to let you flail around and try and guess what we're going to do. that part I'm not really happy with. At least if they don't make the changes, at least provide some sort of direction on what you're going to do in the changes. I think we'll see a few clues. At least I see a few clues in what they've released in this raid. But the next one's the catastrophic mortar, which blows. It really is bad, but it does allow you to complete your explosive tier 8, because we've gotten 2 of the cold snap 2s. We've already been released 2 catastrophic mortars.
You're probably going to max out. If you already have 2, I'm assuming that it's not going to let you get 4 more. You'll be limited.
The limit for everything is 8 now. Of total of the turrets.
They're not gonna limit you like they have on some other things where
No, they've jumped. They made everything jump. If you go to your limited blueprints, you'll see that all the turrets now have a limit of 8.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but the catastrophic mortar blows. The cold snap is interesting. So whatever you guys want to do, Howie cannon, whatever. It's been around forever at this point. Been released multiple times. The phlogiston launcher 2, they've limited that to 2, and you were only able to ever get 2 of them before. And we're going to talk about these. I like the direction they're taking with the rad mortars and the corrosive mortars. A lot better than what I've seen with the penetrative and ballistic, but we'll get more into that as we get to those individual blueprints. Then we see the hex scattergun, which we already talked about. Wildfire thrower, which we've seen earlier. Does anybody see anything missing here? These are all the PvP prizes.
Cold snap turret.
The original cold snap?
No.
Cold snap 2, electric boogaloo. Yeah, that one's missing. Caustic catalyst is the one that I see really being missing.
Yeah, that's right. The specials.
Yeah, the specials. The other thing that's missing is because
the armors. The armors sure are fucking missing.
Yeah.
That should come out.
No, I'm saying the old ones. The old ones aren't here.
Well,
both the old ones and the ones that should be coming out to counter these turrets, because we're gonna have bounty 2 weeks after the raid, and last bounty was just abhorrent. I mean, if you can't hit a fucking base, what are we playing Battle Pirates for?
Yeah. And then we go around, we see some old bounty prizes, and then we get to the does anybody find it odd that the Witch Doctor is the 3rd most expensive of the hulls? The Ifrit's the most expensive, it's 7 million. Impact Cruiser at 6 million. The Witch Doctor at 5, the Warden at 5. Does anybody? Oh, and they've also added because I couldn't be asked to sort everything again into PvP, PvE, and you'll see tokens and whatnot. The Missile Storm Cruiser and the Onslaught have also been released at 5 million with a redeem of 5. I just didn't want to put the table back together. I mean, is this supposed to tell us anything? The fact that the Ifrit and the Impact Cruiser are more expensive than the Witch Doctor?
Yeah, I think it's because the Witch Doctor is more of a blitz fleet, and blitz fleets don't really last very long in this game.
They all have pretty much, once we get to it, they all have pretty much the same range. It has a range of 110 once you put the weapon on it. And it still has to go through the walls and whatnot. The Chaos Chain, people have been asking multiple times. The Chaos Chain Gun is also missing. Okay. I mean, it would be a cheap thing at this point. Don't you think? And they're probably trying to limit that the use of that prior to the refactor.
I like
'Cause
that the elites are back out. I know there's a few people, even in my alliance, that didn't get those the first time and they're kind of regretting it.
Yeah.
They should cut the build time on those in line with all the other tier 7 turrets.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
why they're 30 freaking days.
Yeah, it is
So
ridiculous.
the stupid adder turret as well. Why? Fix that immediately.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I mean, because it was that point. Who's going to feel cheated at this point? When I built my elite countermeasure turrets, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, but now it's getting chopped down to something that's reasonable because it's more reasonable for me to take it off at this point as well.
Well, you can move it around. Like I've got one on my gate I want to move, but I haven't because I'm not willing to do 30 days worth of
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's gonna tie you up for a long time, or it costs a lot of coins.
It's not gonna.
One or the other.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we mentioned the armors are missing, the caustic catalyst is missing, and from chat the chaos chain guns are missing. So, all right. Should we move on, Daniel?
Yeah.
Tokens. Bunch of useless tokens.
Well,
28 28 million for the 7-day turret tokens.
Oh man,
Okay, the person that can get 28 million points to refit these things can't get base parts. Is that what I'm hearing? This one is like, this one just baffles me. Like they have no understanding of the game when they put the 28 million out there for these 7-day tokens. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong.
I mean, it just shows a complete. Doesn't they didn't understand? They don't understand their game at all with those top 4. The other thing I'm surprised that's not here is, well, I think the Inferno Dragon, they need to add more in there. There's no reason for the Makara to be 10. The Inferno Dragon is a little bit low. I would expect that to be 10. The Proto Centurion and the Proto Tide Seeker are not included here at all. I think those are things that people are working on, and I think things are people are a little bit worried about. Like, okay, I'm building my Prototype Seekers, and after next raid, we're gonna win a new skirmish hall. Is this Prototype Seeker fleet that I've spent months building, never used, gonna ever have a use, or is it just gonna die on the vine? Okay.
Don't know.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
good.
It might
Something.
be able to have a use tag on the first raid because since we're not getting the hull now.
Well, it was intended for the SSRBs, the new dub bases. But are the new ones going to be better at it, or is it still going to be like a specialist for the SSRB and potentially the time limited campaigns? There hasn't been a lot of communication as far as how that works with everything else. Like, because we're supposedly going to get the Proto Apollo at some point soon. And there has not been a real communication as far as how all these proto hulls work with our existing hull, or since they've changed management, so to speak, changed ownership of this technology, do they not matter anymore? And should we just stop building?
Be nice to get a heads up. I feel like all this stuff, like the proto stuff, the chameleons, all this stuff was an attempt that even though they said they took away the 2 fleets that you had to build for every raid, they've done it in several ways to even make even more fleets that you want to build or need to build or are inclined to build. So now you've got your prototype fleets for these SSRBs and those resource centers. Then you've got your blitz hull, your auto, your driving hull, which that hasn't really worked out. Yes, it's the same hull, but you can't have both with the same thing. So it's still, they haven't really, in my opinion, done what they said they were going to do, which is take away the necessity for two different fleets. And then lately, the auto hull's been worse than the driving hull, even at auto targets for the last 2 raids.
I see when they told us that they're reducing it from 2 to 1. They actually increased it from 2 to 3. But all right. I guess we should move on. It's a lot of tokens. There is a prototype seeker in there, but no Proto-Centurion. And the Proto-Centurion has a big issue that it doesn't perform as well as the Hydras in the 1 or 3 base part targets. It's a little tricky what they're doing, and they're not communicating that. So,
also, the Greatest Infernal Dragon should have at least some build tokens for that.
Yeah, I know people are still building the FM fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people I think are.
I don't know, with the armors and stuff taking so long to put on now.
Also, the Missile Storm Cruiser, is it even in the raid?
It is. That's what I mentioned earlier. The Missile Storm Cruiser and the Onslaught had both got added in with, I think, they're 5 million each.
Oh, okay.
And I think they have a max redeem of 5. But that wasn't in the original release.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move on. All right, the Witch Doctor. I need to go get another beer. So if anybody else wants to intro this, because it looks a lot like the original ones. It's just corrosive as opposed to penetrative, explosive, whatnot. But I'll be back in a minute if anybody else wants to. George is having technical difficulties, but he's back. But Padre Prince seems like somebody that's qualified to talk about a new Conqueror Hall.
Well,
And
I've
I'll
looked
leave it up
at
to you.
it. I've looked at it a little bit. Seems pretty standard. It's in line with all the other hulls that they're releasing as far as, you've got a weapon that does deflection and you've got the hull with an overwhelming lopsided one type of deflection. And you have to sort of hodgepodge the rest on there and still come up with enough deflections and killing power to hit a base. It looks like for the meantime, until new armors are out, this is going to be you're going to have to use this as a tank to tank through the corrosive turrets that are coming out. So you will need one of these at least. A few other builds can possibly come close to resisting what's going to be coming at you with the new turrets for sure. But as far as just tanking through those, this is going to be a build or a ship that you're going to want to have. Particularly happy. I've been waiting for a scattergun hull. I don't know if I was waiting for this hull, but I've been using scatterguns in PvP on a few different hulls, and they're pretty effective. So having something with range and reload for scatterguns is, in my opinion, in some situations, it's going to be a pretty devastating hull. So that's about it.
Yeah.
For that thing.
You want us to change?
What do you think about it? 78. It's kind of slow in my opinion compared to some of the other hulls. Same. Everything else is the same. Tactical resistance, cargo. But it is a bit slower than some of the other hulls as far as out the box speed. So to call it a rush fleet, I think there's better fleets for actual rushing in terms of speed, but again, to get this speed to match some of your other fleets, you're going to have to modify it heavily and you're going to lose a lot of, what do you call it? You're going to probably lose a good bit of your killing power. So I would look to this as a tank, albeit a tank that I think you're going to want to have. And yeah, It is a Voltron thing. You're having to Voltron all your stuff, refit stuff, based on every damage type that comes out. So other than that, I don't have anything else to say about this. It should be interesting. There's a weapon that goes with it. Looks like George is. Did you have anything to add on to this, George? Good. First time in his life. It's just me here. I feel like I'm talking to myself. And if you guys want to go to the next slide, I don't know if anyone else has have anything. So this is the weapon that goes on it. The Hex Scattergun. It does submerge damage, wall damage, building damage are all pretty good, and it adds penetrative deflection, which could be useful on a few hulls. It would have been nice to have this a couple weeks ago, and then release the MC3, because this would have been a temporary solution to penetrating, still killing the majority of our hulls. It does over damage at 680, which is decent. I think I did the math on this, and if you got a full load of them, you'll be doing around 54,000 damage a volley if everything hits and does, the full 680. I don't know if something hits close and splashes, if that 680 still comes up, or if that's a diminished number. But he's got off to the side here. Range is going to be 110, which that's decent, but I wouldn't really count on it in your base guard, because most people are going to outrange it with sloths and something else with range on it. But maybe less of an issue, since the hull is going to have a 110 range. There's going to be a lot of turrets that are going to have a larger dead spot than what this turret has in range. So sloths are going to be a lot more difficult to use. You're going to have to run 2 ships, 2 different tanks now in order to use your sloth. So people running 4 sloths in one, you better rethink your strategy quickly, because you're not going to do that anymore with the new turrets and the ship as a tank. Anything else I can think of about it? Not really. All right. Rolling on to the next slide, Daniel, if you can hear me. Let's see. George typed a question at me. He said, "What are we tanking for?" Well, we're gonna have to put this in front of some other ships if you want those other ships to still be viable, because a lot of them you're not going to be able to build them to stand up to all the corrosive turrets and still be able to make it through a base. I haven't looked at this special until just now. Spread of -40, which could be pretty useful on some of our weapons. Splash 65 and a pretty hefty 91% corrosive damage. 15% just weapon weight, so it shouldn't be overwhelmingly heavy. Other than that, it's just a special. There's several specials you can use. In my opinion, I think the damage specials are less important than reload specials in the world we live in, because having damage, and for the most part, you're not breaking anybody's deflection with these weapons. But you may, until some new armors come out, utilize the higher damage to break some deflections on ships. But
do you think the reload and splash bonuses almost act like a reload special?
Well, this one doesn't have a reload bonus.
I'm sorry. The splash and the spread reduction and splash increase. Do you think they act as a reload special? Because you're going to be hitting more.
Well, you'll be more concentrated on your fire. So again, depending on how much that over damage is diminished versus where it hits, you could, as long as everything's hitting though, apples to apples, if everything hits, reload is king here in the environment that we live in, which is pretty evident on a lot of people's mort fleets, and the fleets that kill the fastest are the ones that do the most damage, or the most
Dan,
pass through over the least amount of time.
Dana, could you take it one step back on the slides? Because the splash of 7 and the spread of 125 is horrific.
Yeah.
And this brings it into line. That's all I was saying. I'm just saying it sort of acts like reload.
No, a lot is going to miss with that particular spread and splash. And so especially if you can stack that other special, I haven't played around with it, but if that other special stacks with a few other specials that decrease the spread, for weapons like this, your friend is decreasing spread and increasing splash at the same time. That way you're going to get optimal results from using it. Other than that, if you're shooting all over the place, 125 is huge. That's terrible. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So good point.
And then the 110 I put over there on the side is the
Yep.
actual range. I don't know if you got
And we
that
talked
well.
about how that's going to make it difficult for other ships, especially outside ships that you're trying to protect. With a 110 range, you're not going to be outranging the dead spots on a lot of these new turrets and some of the old ones.
Yep, very true. Okay, we can keep on moving along, Daniel. This is where it gets well, not this one per se, but this whole introduction of the potential to own 12 of these corrosive turrets, which have the tier 7 corrosive bonus which is capped at 8. So you don't need to get all 12 besides George because he's not sure what's going to happen.
Better to be prepared. I think George was an Eagle Scout, so the motto, be prepared.
Well, yeah, if you have the points, but this is a short range one. It's going to do depends what you have. It's going to break through the deflection of everything. It's of the missile storm cruisers, the onslaughts, and the impact cruisers, unless they're built in a very crafty way, and do a lot of damage because it's going to do just on its own without any specials, without any fire supports.
181, I think.
Yeah. And you're getting 64 from the armor. So it's going to it should do a fair amount of damage at that point.
Yeah, you would need 3 of the old armors just without the bonuses. So I think you're going to find these scattered throughout the base, and they're definitely going to be a stopgap. You will not advance with the current hulls that we have past them without killing them first.
Yeah.
Sort of like the radioactive turret is now.
Yeah, the phlogiston. Yeah, it's interesting, and this is not the most interesting of the group, but it's a short range turret that sort of stands by itself at this point. Because previously, a lot of even our short range turrets, like the blunderbuss, the vulture, they don't really stand by themselves as far as doing damage to anything, right?
Well, they don't now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying the way the game is currently.
The phlogiston does. The vulture can, if built properly. What's the other one?
But after you've already done 50% damage, right?
Well, no. On some people's builds, it actually can before 50%. Once it reaches the 50%, things start moving along pretty quickly if you sit under that.
Okay. But stand alone without fire supports or anything else.
Without fire supports, with fire supports, it's pretty serious. But yeah, it helps to have the fire supports on there.
Okay. Let's go on to the second one where I think it gets more interesting. Whoops.
Oh.
Daniel, I was trying to show the range on that one. No. go back. Something got messed up. Daniel, can you? I was at this point. I'm trying to show the range on this one, and something. Nope, no, don't. Okay, just right now, I'm showing a 377 range in my base. Daniel, could you just delete the top picture? I'll take you off of present. Just delete that one so we can see the actual stats. Something got messed up in. Just get out of present and just delete the top picture. Because I'm just trying to show.
Are we having technical difficulties?
Yeah.
No.
I was just trying to show how the range is huge on this.
Oh yeah, this
Oh,
has got great range.
yeah, it's got a range of three. Actually, I'll fix it, Daniel. And then just refresh. I'm not sure what happened there.
I think I muted him when I was trying to fix stuff, so he has to unmute himself, or Hefe, you got to unmute him.
Okay.
Oh, that's why I got to talk by myself for.
Yeah, 'cause I was trying to type inside.
Daniel got
Instead of
muted,
typing.
and I'm sitting here like, all right, well, we're gonna go through these slides pretty quick with no conversation.
Yeah, George muted everybody. All right, Daniel, could you hit refresh and see what happens?
Yeah, I was talking the whole time. I thought you were listening.
So you want to go back and say your piece?
No.
All right. This should be. Let's see. I'm sorry about all that. Yeah, it should work now. Hit refresh and then go back to it.
All right.
It's slide 15.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the same slide.
No. Do you hit?
Okay. We just.
Okay, I'm just going to delete it because it doesn't show up that way on mine. Hit refresh again.
Well, it did it. No, it did it.
It just
Okay. There we go. What I was trying to show with that picture was the fact that this is a missile, the Rester scatterguns, and so it has a base range of 115 to 287. So you could add on scramjet and get this out to a range of 376, which is a huge range.
Huge.
That's your whole base.
Yeah, it's pretty close to your whole base. That's what I was trying to show with the picture that seemed to cover everything up. And then it has a salvo 2, relay times 7, whatever. I'm assuming this can be countered. There's nothing saying it can't be countered. But down here, DOT damage of 540 with a DOT max damage of 60,000. I'm assuming, I did ask Kixeye, and they read it and then they never responded. If these two things are not where they're supposed to be, I think they're supposed to be flipped. That's my assumption because I never got a response because this is supposed to be DPS. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're talking about something different. Go ahead.
You see where the arrow is, right, Padre?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and so my assumption is the DOT damage of 60,000 should be the DOT damage as opposed to the max damage. It's meaning that you need 9 hits in order to get to your 9 stacks in order to get to your max. And they just flub this up unless somebody else knows something different because that's the way I read it.
Well, hold on here.
So will this one, since the weapon type is missile, I wonder if the reload bonuses that come from fire support will affect it.
It should. That's why I want to go with like SSKRP, increase the accuracy.
Put it right in the middle of your island and that thing's going to be launching off some volleys. What's the reload on it? 7?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can get that down to about every second or 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't see, because if I'm looking, if that's not a mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I'm doing this right here. So if it's not a mistake, I mean, the other dot stuff we always assumed was per second, right? The ticks were per second.
Maybe that's
Because
total.
if you do, because let me see, 540 by 60 is 9, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 9 stacks, and I think it's reversed.
Yeah. What if the things only tick off every like 5 seconds then?
Then they've completely broken their communication with us. Daniel, go one slide forward for 10 seconds so we can take a look at that one.
That's messy.
Okay, so now we have a DOT damage of 400,000 and DOT max damage of 800,000, which
That's not
implies
the
a
slide that
stack
we're
of
looking at. The
This
slide
is
we're
a
looking at is cryo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
No,
I'm comparing the
he
two. I'm
moved
comparing the two.
forward.
Yeah. Go
I asked-
2 slides forward.
2 slides forward.
No, it's just this one. This is the no. This is the
Oh,
one.
there it goes.
No,
All
this
right, I see
this
it.
is the one we're supposed to look at.
I see it. I see it.
Okay, DOT max damage, which makes us assume a stack of 2 to get to max damage. I'm just assuming this has been reversed on the previous one. That we can go back and talk about corrosive turret 2. I'm just confused by the whole.
I think someone at Kickstarter has got to come out and actually walk through what they're doing with dot damage at this point.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's what I think on Friday. Wrong Thinker ought to spend a minute and a half to explain what the fuck it means, because there's a lot of confusion associated with it and how it deals with deflection and what these numbers mean. So
Because if you go like if we go to the next slide, right? We'll assume this one's wrong. We'll go to Daniel, go to the next slide for a sec.
What is that corrosive damage at the bottom?
If
Is that the tier 7?
yeah,
corrosive
duplicate bonus. Yeah, duplicate bonus group cap 8 plus 25%.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
unless it
so like say
go ahead.
well, I was gonna say so this one has dot duration of 10 seconds, right? And the max damage of 80,000. Now, we've always been led to believe that you stack, you get your stacks up and you're doing damage the entire time, even when you don't have all the stacks up, right? So for each time you hit, you're going to get the dot damage of 400,000, right?
Yeah.
So you only need 2 shots to get to the max damage. And each stack lasts 10 seconds, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what these mean now.
No,
Because that doesn't make sense.
Well, either it's a typo, which is one thing, or it's the total max damage for a stack across. I don't know. Yeah, it needs an explanation because
That's what I mean. It's like none of this is making any damn sense. Because if that's dot damage of 800,000, and it's the way we've been led to believe before, where it's every second, right?
Yeah.
Because damage over time, and we measure time in seconds in this game,
Yeah.
like 0.2 of a second, whatever. But I mean, if you're doing 800,000 damage per second for 10 seconds, that's 8 million damage in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
So unless
Well,
you got 800,000 worth of you're
deflection.
gonna need a full load of the throwers on every ship.
Right, and how much deflection can you get on that?
Well, it'll give you over 800 with all the throwers.
Yeah.
Or it'd give you over 800. So you could negate it that way.
Right, but then you have the other turret that has dot damage.
Well, I think what's the dot damage on the other one? Go back real quick. It's less than this, isn't it? Or is it more?
Well, it's inverse. It appears to be broken.
Well, even if that was saying 540 was what your max dot damage was, you're still with 8. You're well over what it's going to do. So you'd negate this.
So, but does that mean that everyone's going to be that we're going to have to run throwers permanently now?
No, I think that they'll probably start introducing in a very timely fashion, similar to how they started this whole cycle, armors. Hopefully faster, because it looks to me like with the introduction of 8 turrets in one raid, they are trying to move this along and get it over with and behind them. They're, I mean, I guess it moved a little slower than it should have from the beginning. Where they should have had each damage type come out completely with the defenses on each raid, so we could add 6 months to play with it. But it does look like they're trying to move things along a little quicker through this whole kerfuffle.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
no,
this is such a mess. I mean, that is such a mess.
yeah. I mean, there's been no explanation of it. I mean, I did try and contact them about it, but I have not got an answer back.
I just have a feeling that is not going to be 8 million damage in 10 seconds.
You could open a ticket and ask a Kixeye expert.
Yeah. That'll be awesome. I'd love to see that answer.
Because that would probably be about the best. I know there's some guys in there that are really smart. Some guys that are, they're really good with statistics. So they could probably help us out.
Mhm.
It's kind of what it
Well, I
is.
mean, look, we have if that's 800,000, right? We have that one. So you're gonna have to cover that, okay? And then what the hell was the range on the other one was 300 and something? I mean, what's gonna happen to your sloths? I don't give a shit what the hell, you know what I mean? How many tanks you got? If those things are sitting at the corners of your base, you're gonna get those sloths shot at.
Well, 300 range puts your tank in range of it too. The only shortcoming of having that tank there is the 110 range, which means that you won't be able to sneak up on this turret with a 115 dead hole and be able to take it out with sloths. So sloths are going to be rendered fairly ineffective unless you run something secondary to pull the fire away, because sloths with their special ability, if there's something else in range, it's going to shoot at them first. It doesn't matter where they are. And covering the whole base.
Unless you can't shoot at it.
Why wouldn't you be able to shoot at it?
Well, the damn thing has a massive inner ring.
Well, it has what's the inner ring on it? 115, or is it bigger than that?
No, it's bigger. Go back there. It's big.
Yeah, it's 115.
Okay, it's 115, but it's,
Yeah, 115. So that's the same as the
it's the max on
Javelin.
most.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the same as like the max on most Conqueror ships. As
Yeah.
far as direct fire. So once they get into range, it's going to start firing at the slots, right?
If you're only running one tank. But if you have a secondary tank that you keep back outside of that 115 range, well, then you can combat that. That's the technique for doing that. But the problem is, yeah, I mean, it's you can work around this turret even with the 115, but you will not be able to run one tank and 4 sloths. You will have to run less sloths with this turret in the base if you are having to get to something past it, or you'll have to take it out before you go and do whatever you want to do in the base. So prep.
Yep.
So if the inner ring on this one was like 130, then you would pretty much have taken sloths off the map, because you could put this right behind a ship and then they have to kill the ship and the turret and everything else, but I mean, even at the 115 range, you're still pretty much taking sloths. You're taking at least a sloth out of the equation.
Well, you're gonna get this up to 125 anyway, right? No, actually, no. That's the 115. That's the inner ring. That's right.
The inner ring shouldn't be affected by any range specials. Although if it was, that'd be an interesting mechanic, in my opinion.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's go forward. I'm sorry. I just those numbers on both of those are just something's bothering me
They're
about
screwy.
these.
I'm not even gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's a first print. I wouldn't put too much stock in it. We'll either figure it out before they do.
I mean, but even
or,
this one, I mean, this one's two hits and you're at max dot damage, but it's a multi-shot of 5, so you're essentially going to be at max dot every single time because it's a splash-based weapon.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
What's the splash on it? Hold on, let me look.
12.
12.
12. Okay, well, you can modify that, the sulfide, whatever. I think my doorbell's about to go off.
What is it, a bomb?
No. I don't deal in bombs. I'll be right back.
All right.
There it goes.
Probably pizza.
Yeah, something's bothering me about this. The whole thing.
And we've got to take into account that we've got, a weapon set that was created by one person who's gone now, taken over, and may or may not be released as as the original creator had intended. So, who knows?
All right. We're good for
I'm trying to find out. Yeah. I'm trying to find some damn crap on the dot thing, but what the hell? So if every active player earns an average of 100,000 event points as part of Conqueror's Wrath, a one-day generic ship build token will be credited to every player that signed in during this event. So in other words, we're not going to get shit because they're basing this on what, the last event, right? So yeah, defining active players by the amount of players that participated in the previous month. So we've lost a whole bunch of people since last month. So how's this going to actually work? Because that ain't going to happen. And not everyone's going to earn 100,000 event points unless they do something really silly on the map and get a really easy target up there. But I mean, there's plenty of people that I've seen that have like 100 points. That's not going to happen. This is crap. For one generic ship build token. Anybody?
So they're trying to encourage more people to be active.
Yeah.
Well, make the raid fun. Make it not a pain in the ass, and then you win. You don't have to bribe the community as a whole.
Oh, wait, what's this? Is the community contest is based on an average? They didn't say that shit at the beginning. That means you earn your own points as well as make up for other players by earning more. Okay. So how many active players, quote unquote, do we generally have? Like 30,000?
Yeah, I guess
So
on the
that's
Kixeye side.
3 billion points. So somebody get 3 billion points and you're going to get everybody a one-day generic ship build token. There you go. That does that. See, this is...
So
I'm
per day, or do we get like once for the whole week?
No, for the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Oh.
If every active player earns an average of 100,000, so all those big, massive coiners, we just need to have 3 of them hit over 1 billion and we're all set. I mean...
it's a weird thing, and I think the reason they put so much text into this is to ensure that I didn't put a picture next to it, because community chest is, it's just asking
aching
for
for one.
Yeah, and so I almost didn't put this up as a picture, as a slide, because it's like, just go out and get more points. Is that what they're saying? Because there's no indicator as far as I can tell. Like, oh, we're close to the limit. Just go out and get more points. Everybody will get a one-day generic token. It's.
You know what we forgot to do?
What?
Kat actually pointed it out. We forgot to say how good the artwork was. Damn it.
Yeah.
What does that even have to do with anything? Who talks about artwork?
we did talk about the artwork earlier on.
Oh yeah, at the beginning we did. We covered everything.
Yeah, we covered the artwork at that point where we're like, what's going on here? We were trying to decide if there was the Aurora Borealis that was in the splash for the
I mean, we play a
for the
flash
raid,
based,
or
not
the
supposed to be stunning.
No, it's yeah. I don't know.
It all depends on the game.
Mhm. Yeah, or it was a underwater nuclear testing that was being conducted by whatever country we choose.
If I
But,
have a choice between, the game working and great art, guess which one I'm picking? It ain't gonna be great art.
Wait.
What if you
Was
got
there a third
both?
option? Because you kind of took all my options off the table here.
You don't get any options.
How about great
Okay.
music? And
Oh,
they've
yeah,
had
yeah.
the same music for the past 7 years.
What music?
Yeah, the
Well,
one we do with the one we turn off. That's the
That
one.
music and sound effects. Music and sound effects have been turned off for 7 years now. I don't even remember what the hell they sound like.
No, I do not want to hear any of that.
It's horrible. Yeah, I turned it on a couple times. It is horrible.
I did post the link in case somebody'd like to join the show and discuss the community chest. And I could probably take you off of.
Is the next slide a picture that illustrates the community chest?
No, I was, I didn't get because I couldn't put it right there. I mean, I thought I did some good pictures early on.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
We're happy with that art.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could comment on my art as opposed to yeah.
Kick
But
size.
yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate it until the point where it causes lag, and how are we sure there's not a correlation between higher detail artwork and computer lag or internet lag in the game?
I doubt it. But
What?
isn't it based on sprites? So even if they put like a really detailed picture there, it's just counting as like one sprite.
Mm,
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
see, that's what I think about
okay. No, but I can't imagine something that's moving and animated
I've saved a
only
bunch of
counting
money.
as one thing.
But
I'm
it
sorry,
is,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying you can get ad blocker and turn off all the sprites. You can save a bunch of money because you can't actually do anything in the game.
I see. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just end of slides next. Unless anybody has any more, anything more they want to talk about as far as like the turrets, because I feel like the turrets are the most interesting thing that came out in this raid briefing. Because I'm still trying to figure out the way it works. Because like when you combine it with MC3, it seems like once you put MC3, MC2, it seems like doesn't it seem like your penetrative and ballistic stuff is sort of like nah to nah.
but for me as like a returning player, what I'm thinking about is like I'm finally gonna have an entire set.
Oh, this will
of-
be your first set?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So
Well,
an
we should
entire
have a
set
picture for
a
that.
specific damage type. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
always
Send
good.
you like
Yeah,
a balloon.
Get back into the PvP arena.
yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I'm just thinking that there's definitely an added layer of complexity associated with the addition of these new turret classes. The turret damage classes. So it's going to make it. I'm worried about. I'm worried about the new. I'm worried about the witch doctor as far as the fact that once you start putting on the MC3, the MC2, and then you put your weapons in the right way, it's like it's still going to block everything out. That's my fear associated with it. That it's not. You're still back to the minimum damage game. it's set for the for that particular one. But you're going to shut out the missile storm cruiser, or the missile storm cruiser, and the impact cruiser and the onslaught, unless you put the right weapon combination on there. That's probably not going to do any damage. It's like a weird thing that they're doing, at least in my opinion.
But another thing that I wanted to talk about the turrets themselves. I don't know if it's been said before. Like, didn't they say that dot damage, like it goes over deflection? Like it doesn't count deflection.
No,
No,
yeah,
it counts deflection. It doesn't
someone,
count. Go ahead.
yeah, someone had actually said that. I don't know if it was Rampage or somebody else, and no, it's all yeah, deflection always worked against it. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that doesn't work is on the offensive side. Your damage bonuses don't work for things like shockwaves and DOT, or your faction bonuses. Those things don't work on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, like your siege battery and things like that, don't work defensively. Is that in agreement with everybody?
What was the last one?
On the defensive side, that
Yeah.
siege battery is not going to work against DOT or shockwaves.
Ah, okay.
Nobody's
Yeah.
agreeing or
No,
disagreeing.
yeah, no,
I don't know.
that's correct. It's just like shockwave. It's a secondary damage. It's treated the same way.
Yeah. So
Yeah, sorry, this is all old. that's
no, but
when,
it's all
because
old, but I think a lot of people don't understand
yeah,
it because
and
we haven't seen DOT in such a long time, and people not understanding the correlation between DOT and shockwaves, because it's not, it's not explicit that these are the same thing.
And another quick thing for the turrets is the fire support does not affect the corrosive turrets. This was brought up by
Yep.
Magically Delicious Leprechaun Venom Hurricane.
Mhm.
He made a post or copied a post, I don't know, but so putting them on your island won't do anything for your damage.
For the
that
DOT.
maybe-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to affect the corrosive reload or anything.
Not even the reload?
no, doesn't not on the damage, not on the no.
Okay.
Reload or anything. So these are basically, even though the only one that might is the missile based one, if that's accurate.
hmm
You can
Okay.
put that in the middle and get
You reload up. Yep.
reload up, but not your damage.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, because I thought the reload would at least work related to some of that stuff, but I guess not. Huh. Wow. It should be an interesting Friday show with Chris and Wrong Thinker if they choose to take a good path. As far as there's a lot of things to be explained, at least in my mind. So, all right, I'm going to take you off present, Daniel.
Yep.
And if anybody would like to join the after show, go for it. And I don't know. I do feel like this raid cycle's gone on too long. I don't even want to actually talk about the raid
So
per se.
does another question would be, what does those does is that affected by the corrosive damage buffs?
It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't? Okay.
Should not be. Doesn't mean that
Dot
it won't
from
be.
a turret, no. On a ship, I think if it's a ship-based weapon doing dot, I think you can modify not the top end damage, but the stack of it.
Well, are you talking about because there's certain specials that are available for ships as far as supercharge?
Yeah, you can
And it's-
supercharge stuff on ships, but there's nothing like that for
Yeah.
turrets.
Yeah, because there's only launcher supercharge with the rating reserves, but those are restricted to launcher supercharge as opposed to generic supercharge.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. Okay.
That might be a future special.
Yep, it's coming.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess we could wind up the show until Friday, and we'll do an after show for the kicks, explaining what's going on during the raid and what's not, as far as Wrong Thinker and CM Chris, and that'll be should be interesting. So I don't know. If as you can tell, I'm sort of worn out with not knowing what's going on. But whatever. We'll figure it out all eventually. So good night, everybody. Feel free to join the show, and see y'all on Friday.
All right. Good night.
Hail Kixai.
Everybody.